to the 5th grade ELAR SLAR curriculum preview for the third 6 weeks. I'm excited that you're with us. Thank you for doing the preview last time. So let's get going and look at what the expectations are for the 6 weeks. If you have your unit overview with you, and I hope you're using the planning guide that we've used to help you plan. I hope this will help you. Where we want kids to be at the independent reading level is at a text level U this time. I'm not going to read you all the stuff that's on the slide, but you can go to page 10 of your overview and you can see the reading expectations and mastery that we need in reading and as in writing. But you're going to notice all the times and how many reading responses we want and setting goals for them as readers. But we want to be at a text level U. So what does that mean when I say a text level U? As a reading teacher, we have a lot of work to do, and we have to be such diagnosticians, so the continuum really helps us to know what a level U looks like. So I've pulled this out of the continuum, and so over on the left you're going to see what a level U text looks like, what its descriptors are, what kids will experience in a level U text. And then on the right side you're going to see the characteristics of an independent reader at level U. So these are the things that you might want to study, and if you'll email me, I'll be glad to send you this document so you can see the different ones but it's taken out of the continuum if you have the continuum. So it just really helps you in that guided reading to know what does it mean when I say a level U. So these are the characteristics that we're looking for this 6 weeks. The demonstration of reading mastery skills, there are many, but they are doable. Identify the organizational patterns or pattern within a text and explain how it is used to convey information that supports the message. Summarize, paraphrase, and synthesize text, comparing ideas within two texts. Describes how incidents in a story are organized and explain the logic, consistency, and credibility of these events. Identify the literary language and devices used in biographies and autobiographies, including how authors present major events in a person's life. Explain the logic, consistency, and the credibility of the character's actions and his reactions. And explain how messages conveyed in various forms of media are presented differently, like documentaries, online information, television, televised news. And last, identify the author's viewpoint or position. Explain the basic relationships among ideas like parallelism, comparison, in the argument. So those are some pretty big reading masteries, but you can do it with the skills you have. So let's begin looking at our word study. When we're talking about the reading workshop, we're going to begin with that rich English word study that we have put into your hands. Week 13 and 14, we're going to review suffix rules. And what I love is over here, there's a take-home study guide for these kids to really look. And look, most of these skills are taken from 2nd and 3rd grade. So once again, we are reviewing and making sure that students have these specific skills that they should have learned in 2nd and secured, but it's not too late for us to go back and secure those. And within the English word study, you have these things to put in your writing handbook that really help kids know and know about what the suffix rules are. Week 6, 15, and 16, derivatives with the change in the sound of a consonant. So when you add shun and those type of thing, and musician, how they change the sound of a consonant. So there's a rich lesson about that for week 15 and 16. And then the last one is Latin roots. These, and can't emphasize enough about really helping kids to learn how to do this. And so you have a definition of maybe with some things that they would, what does it mean to eject, and then how does it when you look in words, and then looking at building a word, how many different words you can with those specific roots. So English word study is so very important. Your grammar alert that is in your word study is amazing. You're looking at transitional words, subordinating conjunctions, and abbreviations. And so very important that they learn these to learn how to punctuate and to use those in their writing. Your academic vocabulary, we have that document for you where you have it in English and in Spanish. These are the things that you want to really talk about within the context, and so you have that in yearly content documents. As you go throughout, and we know that your main lead standard is Figure 19E, which is summarizing and paraphrasing. And when we look at STAR, this is where we really struggle. So I really want you to look at getting out your comprehension toolkit and really using that summary and synthesizing book and going through each one of those lessons. And remember that as you do a model lesson, you don't always have to do the model lesson, that you can use the guide lesson that's right after the model lesson and use any text that you want. And really stop and have kids create an anchor chart about what does it mean to summarize, what does it mean to synthesize, what is it that I'm doing as I'm reading. So those comprehension toolkit lessons are rich. One of the things that on summarization we scored 51, that was our lowest performing standard on STAR. So your plot summary think sheet, this is a very rich document that you can use with any type of text, helping kids to go through and look at how do you tear apart a text to really find the best summary for them. Also in your focus lessons, doing close reading, making sure that you do the 3 kinds of thinking, using the close reading tips with poems and informational text. We still struggle with informational text on STAR, so doing lots of close reading and having kids have rich discussion around poetry and informational text. And using your stop and jot, whether you use it what came out of the comprehension toolkit or just stopping and jotting small sections of text. One of the things I noticed on STAR is that they would take a specific section and they'd say, out of this section, what does this particular section of text mean? What's the summary? So if we teach kids to stop and jot, or as they're close reading with a pencil, to summarize just small amounts of text, not the whole thing, I think that will be huge in helping them be successful in their reading. And one of the things about the 2016 release test, which of these statements best summarizes the section titled Stretching into Success? That was one of the questions. So it says the section. So what I would say is start looking at those test release questions and then show them how to go back into that test and figure out which of the answer choices, why are they not good? Why is that not good for that one? What is it missing? We just cannot teach beginning, middle, and end anymore. We have to really teach kids to really look in and summarize and to interact with the text. So in fiction, we're looking at organizational patterns, and your SOAPs think sheet is a great way for you to teach the different organizational patterns of a text in fiction. Also, I found you a academic vocabulary Quizlet where the kids are really looking at that academic language that goes with that. In your Treasures Unit 5, A Historic Journey, and Treasures Unit 2, Hurricanes, would be a great one to look at. That is using informational text, but looking at different organizational patterns. When you're looking at persuasive text, you're going to be doing 5.12a, identify the author's viewpoint or position. Look at the clarifier with that, because there are some rich things with that. A close reading with a persuasive text would be a great thing, and in your Treasures Unit 6, A Dream Come True would be a great one for you to use. And then persuasive text, and doing that and tying media literacy together. This is a great lesson that I found on infographics, and this is the elephant in the room. This is a link that you can go out and it shows you the website, but also looking at how media is used and different things. Like here's the website where you get the infographic, and then I'll also tie in the lesson and attach that with that, so you will have that. So those are some of the focus lessons that you could have with that. With fiction, with drama, do a close read. I was in a classroom one day, in a 5th grade classroom, and I loved what they were doing with the drama. They were doing a close reading of 3 kinds of thinking, and there was so much rich discussion going on about, well, where is it in the text that you found that? So using those 3 types of thinking with drama is so great. One of the STAR releases, which of the props used in the play is needed for the resolution of the conflict. So what are those specific details in a drama that help it to with the plot? So looking at that. Foreshadowing is always so hard, 5.6a, combined with media literacy. This is a YouTube video on foreshadowing, so you might want to start with that so kids really understand what foreshadowing is and how they use it in movies and videos. And Scholastic has this great lesson. It's Spring Rain, so you'd be doing a poetry with figurative language and about the foreshadowing in poetry. So it's a great lesson on that. Um, and then the landlady. It's a little bit dark. It's a short story, but the lesson will be attached so you can see how using rich literature to teach foreshadowing with kids is important. You're also 5.78 biographies and autobiographies identify language and devices used in authors. You need to go look at your social studies text. I know that Donna's bought you lots of rich books and use those to teach it in whole group and then in those small groups, teaching and using those books that Dawn has purchased for you. In your guided reading, continue to use your transitional guided reading plan. You'll use your Jan Richardson book to look at what are these specific things. What do I do before, during, and after in a guided reading lesson? Here is the link to the templates for you to use in your guided reading lesson. And remember the continuum. I've shown you the pages that you would look at. That was what we started this with. You might want to go look at what are the other different characteristics of the readers at different levels in your classroom. Make sure that you're using your leveled library, your Reading A to Z account, for your books for your students to use during guided reading, and then hopefully your RAS Kids is up by now and your students are using that within a workstation to really put them on their pathway of reading individually. So that's a rich, rigorous thing for them to do during your reading workshop. Now let's focus into writing. We really want them, we need to get those kids right. Satisfactory is 9, but we really need them at stage 10, 11. You can take a look at on page 10 what the writing expectations are. So let's just dig right in and show what you need to do with that. Your lead standard is create multi-paragraph essays to convey information about the topic and using various sentence structures and transitions to link paragraphs. So you're having them write about what you're reading and what you're studying about in social studies and science. That's just such a rich thing in 5th grade that they can do. In the writing process, here are the different things that you want them to do. BISD students are expected to interpret the demands of a prompt in order to plan for a specific purpose and audience. So you might take what they're learning in social studies and develop a prompt for it after reading and studying, or in science. They're expected to use transition to connect ideas within and between paragraphs. They're expected to improve coherence by adding, deleting, or combining or rearranging sentences in paragraphs. So really, they've had so much teaching if they have been taught paragraph development in the last 2 years that this should be so, they can do this because of freeze time. They're expected to routinely proofread for accurate application of K through 4 suffix rules. Remember, those rules are so important. The doubling rule, if they don't know the doubling rule, go back to the 2nd grade English word study and teach the doubling rule. Dropping the silent E, adding S or S, all those. And then conventions, subordinating conjunctions, and using transitional words as well are your conventions this 6 weeks. In your focus lessons, use your history or science textbooks to examine how the paragraph is developed. So it's once again you're using freeze time to look at what an author did. How did they develop their sentence, their paragraph to do a lot? So you're taking just small parts of text and having them maybe replicate or model after using and developing their paragraphs by using their history or science textbooks. In conjunctions, we want teaching them about conjunctions. I've given you a thing about fanboys. You might want to start that and doing some different activities. Here's one on supporting junctions here, and doing some just different activities with them to get them really understanding, using and understanding what these grammar rules are and how we use them in writing and putting those in their writing handbook. Transition sorts Norma has in the Norma Jackson resources, your signal words for transitions as you teach them to use those in their writing. Use the transition sort so they understand what the transitions are that they need to be using and applying in their writing. So as you go through and you have your writing workshop, your conferencing looks like you're walking around with 1 to 2 minute conferences with each individual students, and you're really students who are not performing in stage 9, you need to monitor them more closely. Here's the things you're looking for: examples of freeze time strategies used to develop those paragraphs. You're looking for language to move the reader smoothly from one eye to the next. Are they using adverb clauses? Are they using meaningful transitions? Applying strategies or techniques for a mentor text. After you've modeled using those social studies and science textbooks, are they applying those type of skills? And are they using effective habits? And then problem solving. Are they using dictionaries? Are they spelling or looking up words they don't know? Those are the type of things that you're looking for in a writing conference. We want to thank you for watching the previews. We appreciate the last time how you went in and then you participated in the discussions, and it's great to see your feedback. We always like feedback. I was so impressed how you posted and commented to others. That's just what that's for you to collaborate with each other. The elementary coordinators would really like for you to consider coming to the C3 time. It's our curriculum collaborate and create time. It's just a time that we have set aside, since we are not meeting with you for curriculum previews, for you to come meet with us to talk about what's going on in your classroom and questions. We're going to be sending out those dates soon. So I hope this curriculum preview has helped you and that you will use it. And if you need help with anything, please contact your academic coach or myself to help you in your planning.